Today I'm getting trained by a NASCAR driver. During my first time ever on a racetrack, he's gonna teach me how to drive fast on an oval.
If I brush you up against the wall.
We're meeting up with my friend
Derek Griffith,
a championship-winning stock car driver who's raced in ARCA.
Derek Griffith in the 25.
Good job by Derek Griffith moving up into the top 5.
And even NASCAR Xfinity Series. Why? Because in just weeks, I'll be lining up to go door to door in one of the wildest grassroots racing series in America. And to top it off, I'm bringing the vet. I've never driven on a racetrack before. My preparation has mostly involved watching Talladega Nights and going fast in places where the police strongly disapprove. Wow, my first time ever on a track. Should have picked a different car for this. At least this was just before I put on my new front splitter, so I didn't have to worry about damaging a brand new one. My whole life I've driven by this place, and could hear the engines echoing from my house, but never did I think I'd be on here, on my own private track day, let alone with my vet, and with a championship-winning racer as my teacher. Except, the vet wasn't our learning vehicle. We had a different vessel, literally. The Mercury Grand Marquis. What better car to be learning the ways of a racetrack than the same platform I'll be racing?
Sounds like a hairdryer, doesn't it?
It does sound like a hairdryer. It sounds like you're flying too. It doesn't look like it as much.
At the end of the straightaway, you're like, wow, this car's coming. And you watch it the whole way, you're like, hey, he's probably going 40.
Yeah.
2 dudes in a Grand Marquis. Cool, so we'll run a couple hot laps and I'll show you kind of like what's tight, what's loose. We have traction control off, so.
How do I flip this visor up? I literally just took the sticker
Sides.
My newbie colors were really shining through in full force.
And then, okay. I think it's just one on that side. So I'll show you kind of what's what. And honestly, some of these cars you might have to manually keep in like first gear, second gear. I think with your car, just run drive.
Okay.
You'll be fine. Like I said, these cars are a handful, so you don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah.
And it's gonna feel a lot different. You're in a containment seat, or are you actually? Do you have a containment seat?
What's a containment seat?
Like those little aluminum seats?
Yeah.
That you can sit, okay.
Yeah.
So it's gonna hold you in. We're not gonna be like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're gonna put our armrests down and see you prop up. You really want to focus on your line and just making sure you can go as fast as you can with being stable, because anyone can drive the out of something, but you lose speed. So,
Yeah.
So like late entry, good middle, on gas. Don't be scared of the wall. Go ahead. That's going to be probably one of your hardest things. Same thing. A little bit of brake, turn it in. Good. Gas on, nice and low. Smash. You know. So you want to start to get into like a rhythm where you're going to be nice and smooth. This thing might need to stay in second gear. Brake, little bit of brake on entry here.
Yeah.
Lee, you might get away with none. So really, like we'll work on like repetition more than anything. Get into good spots. We'll ride around slow for a little bit with the driving. Torque is not like torque. I think it's close. Either way, so Grand Marquis. Like you'll feel it as you drive in. If you're a little unstable, don't be afraid to give it any brakes. I like to brake early, so you're not getting into the corner and braking.
Yeah.
Like I like to get myself slowed down a little bit so the car will do the work for me. Let's run like 2 or 3 really hard laps and you can just watch, but just kind of where I am.
Yeah.
So in first gear, this thing is pretty free. Yeah, so you will have to manually shift it, but yeah, it doesn't want to downshift anymore. So we'll lose a little bit of speed with this, but.
So that was the back end coming around a little bit?
And sometimes like you can work it to your favor. Like, you know, there's a certain line where, you know, you want it to be good with turn. You want to turn it, of course, but you'll be doing this. But like if someone's to your inside, you have to change your whole line. So you know, you're up here. It feels totally different up here. You come to the wall at a different spot. Sometimes you're low. You're like, oh man, I gotta leave room out there. Stay down lower. thing. It's not like I'm like this on the wheel.
Yeah.
That's like functional, you know, like. If I brush you up against the wall, just so you can feel it. Like I said earlier, notice how this is like very repeatable?
Yeah.
Like that's the ideal goal. You want to be repeatable.
Tell me where you're hitting the gas when you exit. Say I'm,
So right about there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels weird, like you shouldn't, sometimes you think you're not going to be able to do it, but you can. Especially this thing's kind of a pig with it. It won't downshift, so. Sometimes you can hit the brakes on entry to help you turn too. So like I'm going to hit them here. You can feel like you slow down a little bit, you get grip.
Okay.
And the wall will kind of mess it a little bit. But there's all sorts of lines to run. This is like how I prefer to do it. Some people will kind of close up entry. You're going to be slower doing this. Lee is a lot different too. The corners are a lot bigger at Lee, so you can enter a little bit lower in Lee, but you'll be around other cars to follow that. I wish it would downshift like a little bit more, but try to run it like this. You want some laps?
Sure. Oh man.
Then it was my turn to take the reins of the Mercury Missile and see how I could get it around the track.
AC on. I know, this is kind of nice.
I think you keep it in first gear just for you to probably feel like the best. Again, pick a couple laps, see what the car's like. The steering wheel's off center. I mean, these things are all the same. They get hammered and abused, so like you're gonna hit the rumple strips, you're gonna probably hit the wall, like it just happens, you know. But the car's going to take some abuse, so. And it's pretty fucked up being over here.
It feels wild, doesn't it?
Yeah. At Lee, you almost want to stay a little bit lower on exit at Lee. Here is kind of a little different, but like you want the car to turn a little bit more here so that you're taking wheel out of it a little bit on exit.
Okay.
But, I mean, first rip, you're doing pretty good. Yeah, like that was pretty good exit.
I was a little free on that one, right?
Yep, yeah, you can see it. The thing wants to loosen up.
Now, when you're coming in hard on the corner, how much brake are you giving it?
It just depends on how hard we're driving in. It's really just how I do it. I apply it pretty dynamically. So I'm like, if I'm driving in real hard, I'll kind of spike it and then bleed off. Or if I'm driving easy, I'll just kind of touch the brake easy too. Really what it is brake pressure is what they call it. Like you can spike it to try to get the car to calm down and get in there smoother. There's a fine line between like too much brake pressure, but it just depends on how hard you drive in. Whatever I need to like whoa the car up to feel good on entry. And you can play around with it. Sometimes people like hitting the brakes hard, sometimes like hitting the brakes soft.
Loose, I can feel it.
Yeah, yep. So even then too, so see how like you're kind of like hitting the gas on entry still?
Yeah.
Like you almost want to wait a little bit. Hitting the gas a little bit later to help the car be settled. Like so right now you're driving off and you're kind of like pushing the front end up to the wall rather than like letting the car drive up to the wall. You know what I mean? So like when you were on the gas, you notice how we were kind of like up high?
Yeah.
So that's called tight on exit. They call it too much drive. What it is, it's the rear tires are driving the front tires to be straight even if you're turned.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I said, you kind of have to deal with this when you're driving these things, but that was a little bit too much. So as you're driving in, like don't be afraid to like let the car just kind of settle in for just a little bit longer and then get on the gas. Like right now. Yep.
See,
even then.
Why did I feel like
it did push again? Still, yep. You can play with it a little bit more to see where like you're comfortable doing it. Yep, there you go. So see how like nice and low and straight we exited?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. And then we exited a little high that time.
Yeah.
It's because you kind of like the middle looks like you pushed the middle. That's a good, yep.
The problem I kept finding myself having was hitting the gas halfway into the corner to try to make up speed. A bad habit that I was gonna have to learn how to brake if I wanted to be faster.
I wish we had times. That's like a prime example of like, that can really upset the car. It's like almost like if you kind of drive in and you're too light on entry, you're almost better off just letting it roll for a second and then get back going rather than try to make up more on entry.
Okay, that makes sense.
Really, in racing, you make the most up on exit than you do anything else. Some people can drive in a little bit harder than others, but
Yeah.
it's usually like setup, not really you per se. But if you can get for a really good exit, you'll be really, really good. I mean, you're doing really good as far as like, I think speed-wise, you're not far off. Try to run a couple laps, like kind of hugging that bottom line.
Hugging the bottom line?
In the corner, yeah. Because you're gonna have to race like that sometimes. So that was actually good, yep. Then you can come up too. There you go, yep. That's tight right there.
Okay.
See how you had wheel and it was kept going straight? So usually that means you're carrying too much speed
Through the corner?
through that middle part of the corner.
Because I didn't touch the brakes on those ones.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes in the middle of the corner you can give them a little stab to try to see if that turns you from going this way to kind of this way. It's possible to do it. What's cool about racing is like an R4. So you can, there's a million ways to do it. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever works for you the best. But there's all sorts of little things that you can do to help, that helps anyone.
I wanted to just see what it did if I didn't touch the brake.
Yep.
In that.
Yeah, and you saw it kind of push you out there.
Yeah.
So where that hurts you is like if you're racing and you end up out there, someone just goes here.
Yeah.
You know, like it just, or you lose a lot of speed there too.
Friggin' seats suck.
I know. I'm like right up against the door. So that was a really good exit. Another good exit. You can see how like sometimes you drive it harder, it turns better. You can actually drive it into that corner a little bit harder.
Okay.
So I think what you're doing, you're not driving it in hard enough and you can kind of feel it after and you're like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, that's good. So that was free. So sometimes that'll happen. You did a good job saving it. Best way is just keep in it, keep going.
So what was that happened because I went too much speed in the first
when you drive it in
diving?
nice and hard, you open, so it was good. You opened up entry in the thing. So you know how we've been struggling, it seemed like you were struggling a little bit on that entry and you were kind of like trying to get it to turn by your getting on the gas.
Yeah.
You got it to the car to turn there. It just kind of caught you off guard.
Okay.
Like I said too, the engine brake on the first gear deal
Yeah.
is a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Like your car might not do any of this, but you're getting the fundamentals here.
Yeah.
So
Now, do they race with traction and stability on? Like, how does it work? Will my car have ABS?
usually off. You
Okay.
want it off. Yeah, you don't want any of that shit on because it hurts you so much. If you want, I can kind of show you.
Yeah.
Now that, like, it's easier to understand things after you've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, okay.
We swapped spots and headed back out on the track.
I'll see if I can get it free for you so you can see what it's like. So panic brake or ABS is too good in these things.
Okay, you can kind of feel the back, you know, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, ready? Like we'll try to. So this is like as you get out of shape, you're
Okay.
racing, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's not ideal to do that, but you know, you can get in, you're free. So you can feel like the car wants to come around on you.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can sometimes use it to your advantage, especially with these. You kind of gotta drive the hell out of these things.
What were you doing in the corner to make it go free? Were you hitting the brake quite a bit and trying to jump on the gas quick?
Kind of, yeah. So you can, like, I will start on the brakes on entry. Like I said, ideal case scenario, you want to stay as stable as possible. You want to stay as smooth as possible. But when you're racing with people, sometimes you got to shoot a gap. Sometimes, like, you have no choice other than to kind of make moves.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that was like. Oh shit, I'm driving in, I gotta get on the brakes and get on the gas so he doesn't get away from me. So you'll see, like, you saw how my hand movements were a lot more volatile rather than like, oh, turn in, turn off. For you, I think we should just worry about you being fast, like, or driving around by yourself to start. A race or two in is when you can really kind of worry about racing with other people. Yeah, like you were doing that little thing on entry at one, but you're up against the wall good, no worries there. Yeah, I was a little bit like lower and straighter.
Yeah. You're carrying significantly more speed.
Yeah, it's all in like, it's just a lot of experience, I guess.
Yeah.
See how like I almost weighted on it a little bit on exit?
Yeah.
It's so I don't push, like, ready, if I get on the gas, get through, and just,
Yeah.
so that's not good because it gets you out of shape. Same thing, it kind of gets you out of shape when you start doing stuff a little bit more erratic.
Yeah.
Like, I just lift out of the gas and let the car kind of slow me down. Like, you can feel the back end want to come around a little bit. I'm using that to my advantage. So, ready? See how much more wheel I have to put to its center? Yeah. But you know how you can kind of, it's almost like you let the inertia take the car. A lot of the times, it's going to stick. You know?
Yeah.
Most of the time, it doesn't really slide out on you if you do it the right way. It is difficult to get comfortable doing that, though, because you're like, fuck, something's wrong here, you know? But as you come out, and this is more of a problem when you open up entry, because you're carrying so much more speed, but you carry that speed through the middle, and if you can get low and straight here, you're using less racetrack for that.
Yeah.
On exit.
Okay.
If it's faster and you're using a little bit less racetrack, that's a good thing.
Better, yeah.
The only downfall is if you open up, people have the tendency of dive bombing you.
Yeah.
But your first race, you probably won't have to deal with this too much. There's probably going to be, 15 or 20 cars. I suggest you just take the tail and learn. Really, the biggest thing is, like, if you notice movements of the hand, it's hard to see feet, but ideally you don't want to do a lot.
You don't want to do a lot?
Yeah, you don't want to have to do a lot. The car will work for you.
Yeah.
It will. You just have to kind of let it work. If you start trying to make it do too much things at once, it just hurts you. Like, it slows you down so much. So, like I said, like, if you watch my laps, they're like, okay, nice and easy, get on the gas, easy, not hard.
Yeah.
I'm not full throttle until I'm all the way on the corner. All right, cool. So, like, see how, like, the car's not really jerking around.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Like, this is the best way to race. You can get on the rumble strips to help you turn if it's easy. The best way to race is to do this. It's not always the fastest way, but you will outlast everyone around you when you're nice and smooth.
And the stress on the car, I feel like.
Correct.
The tires.
Yeah. So, and like, we can do this all day. We can go around 200 laps like this. We're not going to hurt anything. So, like, I'll show you what you were doing that was wrong. So you get through to the middle, and you're carrying that speed there, and you like try to get up, up here. Instead of that, like what I do, and what kind of you're supposed to do, is like I'm down here. So see how much we carry, like we pick up speed much quicker?
Yeah.
Because we're driving more straight rather than like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you're like not really going straight yet.
Yeah.
So you can work on that too, but I mean, you're not slow, so that's good.
Thank you.
Like, there's going to be other people slower than you.
Oh, that's good to hear.
That's probably cool. Lee Speedway is quite a bit different than this. 1 and 2 in Lee Speedway is kind of like this. 3 and 4 is like much flatter and wider. Well, but it's like flatter and wider too, longer, like from the start to finish of the corner. So Lee Speedway is like this. It used to be a triangle. So
Really?
and they cut one of the corners off and made it so it has a big corner and a little corner. Little corner is kind of like here.
Oh.
Big corner is like flatter and has not as much grip, but it's kind of like so long and it's so flat, you do actually have to enter lower. There's no banking for you to kind of like suck up the inertia of the car. You drive in low and you kind of just roll through low. That's the
So
only
turn
difference.
3, there's no banking.
There's a tiny little bit, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you see it now, right? So we go to the corner. When we go to the corner, you'll see, I mean, if we park on it, there's probably, I don't know, 12 degrees of banking.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not a ton, but like we get it, we stop here and we're like, you know,
Yeah.
we're leaning a little bit.
Yeah.
Lee is like probably half of this in
Wow.
3 and 4. 1 and 2 is about this much.
Yeah.
Repeatable, work on turning in the middle and being smooth.
Yeah.
Really, like, finding a way to be fast and smooth is like that. You'll kill everyone if you can do both. Where like my line was,
Yeah.
whereas like you see all these tire marks up here,
Yeah.
those are like your front tires pushing through.
Okay.
You know, rather than driving through, they're like pushing through. That was like the only thing that I saw that will hurt you. You like drive in and you lift it early, but then you're like, oh. And
Yeah.
Then you try to make it up.
I did
You
that
feel-
a few times.
Yeah. Then you feel like you lost, so you're like, oh, I got to make it up on exit.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to make anything up on exit like that. So when you're doing it, you're like getting on the gas there.
Yeah.
See how it kind of pushed me all the way up out of the groove?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, if you wait, like, I'll show you what it looks like when you wait. Just, it's not even much. It's like a car length or less. It'll keep you in a whole different spot. So we'll drive in. We're waiting. All right, good.
Okay.
You see how that kind of like, it carried our momentum so much better, did everything better.
And you said you're not full throttle until you're completely. Are you? What's your throttle at?
If you can do it, I say do it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do it without upsetting the car. The problem is if you drive in and we're here and you're not carrying enough speed, you can give a little bit of throttle and not push the tires.
Yeah.
But if you get back there and smash it, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you carry so much speed on entry and it carries through the middle.
Yeah.
That you don't have to get on the gas until you're already like ready to be full throttle.
Okay.
So like you drive in and you're like, okay, I'm good here. Smash. Go.
Okay.
But like you just don't want to try to, like when you get on the gas, it's going to want you to push you straighter. Ideally, you don't want to do it until like you're almost to a point where you're like, okay, here is a straighter angle to the back, the middle of the straightaway, rather than like, oh, I'm still trying to get the car to turn.
Yeah.
Like try to turn a lot. You know, turning off is nothing, but when you're here and you're worried about over there,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, and then here, you know, you smash the gas and you end up going this way. Well, this is a much harder thing to get out of than being down low.
Yeah.
You did really good, honestly. So
Thank you.
it's like you've driven our car before. Maybe.
I like the doll in the minivan.
You like that? Smoking front brakes, transmission,
It smells like many things.
tires.
And I think I urinated.
Tires got on it. It's a little slimy.
Oh, wow. Nice job. It is crazy the amount of abuse they can take, though.
Oh yeah, and the AC was running.
And the AC was running the whole time. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they take some serious abuse. It's funny. I didn't think it would sound that much like a hairdryer.
What do I have to improve upon?
Probably-
Teacher, Instructor Derek.
Your entry and middle of one
Yeah.
is probably your hardest part, and try to just wait in the middle of the corner for just a little bit longer. Like
Before hitting the gas.
Yeah, because you're just driving the nose right. Like, so you have your corner here. That's your white line. You're driving in. You're doing good here.
Yeah.
You're hitting the gas here and ended up like out here.
Oh, okay.
You almost want to wait here. Just wait that little time frame here to let the car go from like this to this.
Yeah.
And then you leave like that. So
Okay.
you're losing speed by coming out this high.
Yeah.
Because you're on the gas and you're like you're not really, you're kind of binding the car up, not binding it up, but your front tires are sliding, your rear tires are pushing them, and you're like not quite full throttle yet.
Okay.
Whereas like if you just waited right here a little bit, you can be straight and wide open.
Okay.
So that's all I would really.
That's what I gotta remember to do.
That and then don't hit the gas on entry like that. It's not good.
Yeah, I don't know what I was.
It's okay.
That was.
It's your first day. That feeling of it like wanting to like come around on you is not a thing that like people are comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's just not. They're like you can't. You have to do it a lot to be comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
So you'll get there.
It's gonna come with practice.
Yep. Lee Speedway.
And at the end of it, as I'm leaving, I got the go-ahead to do a few hot laps in my Vette, which only an idiot would turn down.
Oh boy, this is wild in this thing. Holy crap.
But
this is cool.
this idiot's taking it easy and doing lukewarm hot laps, since his tires aren't in the best shape, and his oil pan is one rough bump away from being torn out from under the car. And this older track is not the smoothest thing in the world. And then
I think I just nailed the center cap from the Crown Vic. Well, that was freaking amazing. I can't thank my friend Derek enough for taking the time to show me the ropes. Just so much fun, and I cannot wait to be doing it in my Crown Vic. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Happy motoring. Here, you can have a ride.
Oh, thank you. Is this a fake taxi?